most people come to Japan, they want to stay in Japan, but I don't want to stay in Japan because of a few reasons. I don't want to contribute to the brain draining that's happening in my country, where people who are educated, elites, they abandon the country. And
welcome to the Melanated Files. In this series, we highlight and share the stories of black people from across the globe. Remember to subscribe to this channel for weekly videos and also follow us on social media for regular updates. Let's get into the interview.
My name is Nabe Amadu Ali. I'm from Guinea, Conakry, West Africa. Interesting question, why Japan? I got the MEC scholarship from my country in 2018 to come to Japan to study for my master degree in economic history. And I've been here for 1 year now. And hopefully I will graduate in 2 years' time. So the MEC scholarship was a very interesting scholarship. And based on all the opportunities I will get after having a master degree. So I just decided, wow, it's Japan and it's a nice country and I'm seeking knowledge. So why don't I go improve my own capacity and capability and then come back, use it for my country one day. Yes, I got a lot of offers from many universities, and I went to look at the geography, the population of places, because I don't like a very crowded environment. So I didn't like to go to Tokyo, and checking all the videos I've seen about Tokyo, the crowded trains and everything, I was like, Sapporo, not a lot of people, just few people. And also the city just looked like where I come from, even though it's the opposite in the climate situation, but it just looks like where I come from in Bel Air. So it's really nice. Oh, Sapporo's weather is something that I've not seen before. Coming from a place where it's very hot sometimes, and when we say it's cold, it's like 20 degree, 18 degree, then we say, oh, today it's very cold. But I came to Sapporo and I saw -11, -12. Then the day I saw -13 was the day I already gave up about Sapporo. And the winter, it snows heavily in January and February. So just imagine someone coming from West Africa, landing in Sapporo, and with the weather constraints, you'll be like, Sapporo weather, you want to run away in winter. Everything in Sapporo is beautiful. The winter, though the weather is harsh, the snow festival is a very beautiful moment to come to Sapporo. I joined the snow festival. And also in summer, we have a lot of barbecue. And also in spring, the Anami Festival, the Maruyama Coin, and also the good people of Sapporo. The Sapporo people are very nice and they're very friendly. To me, at least, I would say they're friendly. And also, it's a place to just concentrate on your studies and anything you want to do, because there's less distraction in Sapporo. I went to Tokyo. Tokyo was amazing, but I just didn't like Tokyo because I already said I don't like a place where it's very crowded. So when I went to Tokyo, the place was crowded a lot, and I don't like being in a very tight position in trains and stuff like that. So the population is much, and it's a very big city. So, and with little or no friend in the city, so it gets very boring. So I feel like in Japan, Sapporo is my home. Ambition for life in Japan. My ambition is to get my master degree. And also, I'm not planning on staying in Japan. So my ambition in life in general is to finish my education, go back home, use my knowledge to build something in my country that will be useful for my own people. And most people come to Japan, they want to stay in Japan, but I don't want to stay in Japan because of a few reasons. I don't want to contribute to the brain draining that's happening in my country, where people who are educated, elites, they abandon the country and stay in already developed countries and use their knowledge for those countries. In my case, I want to use this opportunity of getting a master's degree to go back to my country, apply the knowledge I already acquired, and make a change in my country, so that at least not my generation, maybe the generation to come will be proud of what their fathers also did for the country. What I like most about Japan, I would say precisely Sapporo, is the honesty of the people. The first day I came to Japan, I landed in Sapporo, and I got lost because I couldn't remember where I should be. And the policeman who saw me, who I explained my situation to, he helped me find my dorm, and he took me in his car and dropped me at my place. He didn't ask me for my ID. He didn't ask me for any information. All he just wanted to know is where I stay. And I was bad at explaining the place, but he tried as much as possible to understand what I was saying. So that was my first experience with the Japanese people, and it was a Japanese policeman. So imagine, it's not like my country. I can try to compare that with my country a little bit. The police might not be as nice as the Japanese policeman was to me. At least even if the policeman in my country wants to help me, he would ask for some documents. But in Japan, that guy didn't ask me any documents. He didn't ask me about any information. So my first experience with the Japanese was a Japanese policeman who was nice to me. So he changed my whole idea about Japanese society. What I like the least about Japan is that people try to stay away from each other a lot, and people are too isolated. And for example, you can get very lonely and depressed quickly because you have nobody to talk to most of the time. So for me, I can't get lonely or depressed because I make friends everywhere I go, and I try to keep at least 2 or 3 guys around me who I can mingle with sometimes. So basically, it's just that the society is a little bit closed, and the people try to be cautious of each other a lot, and it's hard to make Japanese friends. So that's just but the Japanese friends you do make are really friends you can call. Yeah, how I make Japanese friends, it's in my way is I make them from my school, or we go out. I don't really make friends outside my school, but the ones I meet are from my lab. We have a common interest, and they want to go more than, they just don't want to be my research mates, but they want to be more than just research mates, be my friends. So I've made 2 or 3 friends like that who I can call for my urgencies to help me out on some things, and they're always ready to help. But most of them I met who are my friends today are people who have experience of living abroad. They know how it feels like not staying in your own country, meeting people who are from other places, and they try to pay back what other people have done to them while they were staying abroad. So that's why you should always leave a very good impression on strangers, because you don't know if you might also be a stranger in someone's country. No matter who you are, American, Japanese, you can be a stranger somewhere else where you need some love from the natives of those lands. So, my favorite Japanese food is tempura, the one with fish. I really like that one. I like soup curry. I would recommend a place in the Sapporo, which is very good, picante. You can check it up. It's always nice to eat soup curry there. And also, I like the Japanese wasabi. Even though when I eat it, it really tastes weird in my mouth, but I just really like eating it with my friends. So it's not a frequent one, but my favorite, it's always tempura. The best advice I've received overall was from a friend, a father, a mentor. I call him Donald Godfrey. He taught me talk less, do more. That's the one word he told me before he left for his next job. He told me, Nabe, in this world you have to talk less and do more. Let your actions do more of the talking. So since then I try to literally I don't talk much, but I try to make sure everything I say I accompany them with some action. So I will tell everybody, talk less, do more. It's only the actions that matter. The talking, it's just another story for another day. My experience as a black person in Hokkaido, first of all, you have to admit that you're a minority here. That's the first thing you have to admit. And also, you have to also know that you're here for a reason. You concentrate on what you're here for. And also, you try to suppress all the negativity. And also, you have to have some kind of pride in you. You have to know, I'm a minority living in a place where it's a majority is other people, the Japanese people, of course. And you just have to embrace yourself. You shouldn't try to stoop so low, because you represent the whole community. So my experience in Japan is I've tried to keep my head up. I've tried to maintain a very good personality, because whatever I do will affect other people. So I always say, oh, if I do one thing, they wouldn't say Nabe did it. It's gonna be say, oh, one African, one black guy did this. So because of that mindset that is in my head, I control everything I do, everything I say, because I don't want my actions to affect other people. So, and also I have a lot of black friends from Africa, from around the world, Japanese friends, European, international community. So I just try to make sure I don't let the negativity around affect me in any way. Negative experiences, people seeing you and looking at you like they've never seen a black person before. That's one thing. And the second one is you go to a train station, you try to line up, and then you line up behind this guy, and he looks at the back, he sees this tall black dude with the beards and the hair, and he's like, oh, be Krishna. So you get that feeling that he's a little bit scared. I'll be like, you scared? So now I make a joke of it. When you act like you're scared, I act like I'm scared too. So we got two people who are scared of each other. So basically, that's really solved my problem. You act like you're scared, I also act like I'm scared. So I'm scared of you, you're scared of me. So 50-50. I'm a Mandingo by tribe. That's my tribe, not the one written in the English dictionary. That's my tribe from West Africa. Some people call it Mandinka. So the funniest thing is, somebody asked me that a lot of ethnic groups in Africa, and I said, yeah. I said, which one are you from? I said, I'm a Mandinka. He said, well, no. I said, okay, in English they call it Mandingo. He went on Google, he searched it and taking the phone and started showing people like, oh. Then next, somebody came to ask me a very, very crazy question. He said, Mandingo. I was like, no. So that's the funniest thing. We laughed about it all day. I had a friend of mine from Congo. He started laughing, and he used it now to make fun of me. So.
What do you think is a general attitude towards black people in Japan?
I would say ignorance. Like they don't really know black people. That's one thing. And secondly, they don't see a lot of black people around. And the third one is they try to judge black people based on the roles they play in movies. And secondly, what media shows them. And also they take the reference of black people as Americans. So we face one issue here. Like if you are American and you're black, they put you here. And if you say you're from Africa, they put you here. So just imagine they have that image of the media in their head. So they try to balance black people. Those who know black people try to balance it. Those who don't know, you can't really blame them because they've not really been taught about black people. They don't know the black people history. And sometimes I don't want to say some black people are the cause of what is happening, but sometimes some black people really behave very, very in a sort of way that makes me feel like they're tarnishing the image of being a black person for other people. So first of all, we need to check our own behavior. Then next, we can also send a very positive image to people to show them that, no, this is not black people. This is how black people are. Black people are just like everybody. Then you try to teach them a new way of thinking about black people. So that's what I do. I teach them everywhere. I teach them when I see you doing a very silly mistake. I try to teach you that, oh, sorry, you're making a mistake. That's not black people attitude. That's not what we do. Some of my friends, they can cut your hair. So most of the time students help themselves out. But I've got this Japanese guy who's really good at doing my hair. But every time I go, I need to show him a picture. He looks at the picture, he studies it for like 10 minutes. But he really does it very well, so I like it. But with my beard, sometimes he messes it up. So that's why I'm keeping the beards now. When it's grown, then I can go and show him how to do it, show him tutorial videos and stuff like that. So, but he's really, really doing my own hair better. But when other people go, it seems like it doesn't work out. But I think he's the one who really can barb my hair. So I barb my hair from the same guy every month. The most profound difference can be in the cleanness of Japan. I drink the tap water here, and also the every area is neat. I separate my gomi, I separate my everything here. I don't just throw anything away, and also you don't see people littering the floor, and that's just the difference. My country, in some parts, is very clean, but some parts are really, really not what you want to see. But everywhere I've gone into in Japan, I just find out that it's always the same thing. Everywhere is neat, and Japanese people really, really care about their environment, which makes a very huge difference. If I could change one thing in the world, I would change people's mentality, people's way of thinking, people's way of seeing things. Because if the brain is damaged, the whole body suffers. So most of the time, the reason why we do some very crazy things is because our brains are damaged. We don't think. And also we look like confused people. So first of all, we need to change people's mentality, how they embrace other people's differences, how they see other people, and how they think about other people. It's very important. Like if you have a very positive mindset, there's a way you're going to treat me which is different from when your mindset is all collided. So that's just the difference. I think people's mentality is where the problem lies, and every day it seems like the world is getting dumber. I think I would have loved to have dinner with Dr. Frances Westling, late Dr. Frances Westling. She is a black activist, and she wrote a very nice book I'm reading actually, and she really inspires me. So that's the kind of woman I want one day to have in my life, who really thinks, who really knows who she is, and also she fights for something. Because if you don't fight for something, you die for nothing. So basically, she spent all her whole life trying to motivate black people, trying to tell them who they are, rewriting their history, and also to making them think positively. So she has a very, very, very deep influence in my life, because I see her image of a mother in her, and also I really love to read her books. Okay, the book by Dr. Frances Westling that I'm reading actually is the ISIS paper, the Key to Colors. It's a book that really detailed how black people are being manipulated, how black people, the other people are trying, I don't want to mention a specific name, are trying to annihilate the black race. And this book was written in 1982. It's a read for everybody. And also I read books written by Stephen Biko. So basically I love to read books written by black people, so that, because you don't expect someone else to be telling your history, someone who's been lying to you for a long time, to also come and account your history. So I just read books about African history from African writers, because they are the best who can tell you the issue without being biased or bringing the cultural poetesses and stuff like that. My proudest accomplishment, should I call it proudest accomplishment? I've not so far it's always been standing up, knowing my proudest accomplishment was knowing myself, knowing who I was, and changing everything. That was my proudest accomplishment, because I know some of the things I've been through before, and there come to a time when I wanted to give up. Then one day I just stood up and said, no, I have to be useful. This is not my life. I have to change some things. I just don't want to be like, oh, that guy also. So I just woke up one day and said, no, I have to fight for something. I have to believe in something. I just have to stop taking everything just the way it comes. Then from that moment, I started investing more in knowing people in my community. And then I also started becoming a speaker in events. I also started to learn African history with Donald Godfrey. He taught me a lot. And since then, I've never stopped talking about the African community and changing it. Because if 5 years ago, I didn't meet Donald Godfrey, by today, I wouldn't be thinking about my own country. I would have this selfish mind in that, like, oh, I only care about myself. I don't care about others. So he changed that. So since then, I've invested a lot in my community by making sure I motivate other young boys like me, young girls, to follow the right path, to create a career for themselves, so that one day we can come together and form that team that can be beaten. My earliest memory was the day my grandfather took me to school, and everybody was looking at me, because I was very small. So it might not be when I first started school, but I just remember every day my grandfather would take me to school in a very old Suzuki car in the 90s, and Every time I go to school, people will be like, isn't he too young to go to school? Isn't he too young to go to school? So I grew up with that statement in my head. My grandfather will always remind me, don't let anyone tell you you're too young to do anything. So that memory always come back to my head, like this man has been telling me not to let anyone tell me I'm too young, I'm too young, I'm too young, I'm too young. So that's my early memory of someone really telling me something every day, which has always become an alarm tone to me when I feel like, oh, will I be accepted here? I'll feel like, no, don't matter. You're not too young and you're not too old. Just do it. If the world was listening right now, I would tell the world one thing. We are one people, one family, and there is no race issue that should always be said about. There's only one race, and that's the race of humanity. Let's love ourselves, let's give hand together, because it's only in love we're going to develop and be the real meaning, the real definition of humanity. We shouldn't lose that feeling. We shouldn't lose that love that bounded humanity for so long by dividing ourselves into race and people of color, of no color, stuff like that. So please, let's come together and share love. One thing Japan really does well is their commitment to whatever they want to do. Japanese people are very committed. If they are studying, they're studying. If they are into any other sport, they're really very committed. The world can learn some of Japanese working ethics. I don't say the overtime and all those stuff, but you can learn how to be committed to something, and only every day you try to be best at that. You try to be best at that, because every day the Japanese people, they try to improve their self. They try to improve their knowledge on whatever they're concentrating on, which has really motivated me, and I think the world should adapt such ethics, commitment. I have gone to Kumamoto. I really loved Kumamoto, but since I have explored more Sapporo, if you come to Japan, please come to Sapporo and try to visit the Odori Snow Festival. It's going to be very cool, but you're going to really enjoy the snow sculptures and everything. Sapporo is beautiful in winter, and there are a lot of snow sculptures you can see around. My Japanese is not very good, but at least it's better than 1 year ago, because now I can ask a few questions here and there, and also I can make people understand what I want to say. But I'm still learning Japanese. I think if I do the Japanese text, I should be able to be N5 now, because I think at least that I can pass. But apart from that, my Japanese is just Ohayo gozaimasu, and that's all. Yeah, I study entirely in English. Oh, dating life in Sapporo. I've seen some people who are dating Japanese girls and stuff like that. And also my case is a little bit different. It's not like people don't get to, you can meet anyone, you can date anyone, but I just a little bit, I'm just not interested in the dating stuff here. I just came for an objective, which is fixed, and so I just try to concentrate on that. So Japanese girls are very beautiful. Maybe I'm just the one not interested. I try to always, like, I don't approach, and so I don't expect them to come. So, but when I go out, they really feel like, oh, Ikemen, you tall, you big, and I'm like, oh, thank you. And then they expect you to make a move, then I don't make moves, so it all ends there. So that's how I'm so boring. I think people watch a lot of anime, so when they come to Japan, they expect a lot, and when you come, you just understand that Japan is completely different from what you've been reading in the books and everything. And no YouTuber or any person writing an article can describe Japan to its 100. You always 100%. You always find new things. You always find different things. The biggest misconception is that Japanese people are so welcoming. That's the biggest misconception. They won't chase. They have nothing with you coming to their country, but you feel like you just feel like I can't fit here. This is not where I'm supposed to be. So my advice is, if you come in to study in Japan and you want to have your studies in English, you can come to Hokkaido University. It's one of the 5 best university in Japan. It's ranked the 5th best university in Japan. and also try to check the rankings of university, because the rankings of universities are very important in the Japanese society. Even though I believe that it's not the university, but what the study you do that's really determine how good you are. But the ranking is very important. And if you want to study in Japanese too, the Hokkaido University have some intensive Japanese courses that you can take to study. So I would recommend you to come to Hokkaido University. But if you want to study engineering especially, you can come to Hokkaido University. The engineering department is 100% in English, and it's very, very interesting. And also other departments do have English courses, but the best I've seen so far is in the engineering department. If you're black, don't be scared. You're not gonna get that racial abuse and stuff like that in Japan, because you won't get that. Just that people don't know who really black people is, and they might be a little bit scared of coming closer or stuff like that. But it's not because they are racist, but it's just because they don't know. So they're not racist, they just don't know. And also, it's very peaceful. Don't be scared. Nobody's gonna say, no police is gonna see you on the road and shoot you. And so don't be scared, you're safe, it's peaceful. Just come with your own money in your pocket and enjoy the rest of everywhere. You can visit as much as you can, and they're not gonna racially profile you.
Is there something about Japan that you think deserves more media coverage?
Maybe the Afro society here, because they don't really show them in the media. You feel like, that's why you asked me about dating life. You feel at the end of the day like, are black people really dating any Japanese girls? Are they making babies with them? And where are those babies ending up? Are those babies turning up not to become anything? Or are they not really moving up ahead in life? You don't see them on TV, you don't see them in media coverage and everything. And I feel like they should be more attention paid to those group of people, because most of the time they're not accepted at the other place, and sometimes you don't see them hanging around with any other black people. And when you see them, you just feel that disconnection. They're disconnected over this side, they're disconnected over this side. So they feel, I think that's one thing that should be covered much. The Afro society, the people who are Afro living here, I think they need to be given more chances to show on media, so that it becomes a little bit more balanced, so that they feel part of the community. I'm an historian. I've read a lot of history books, and people don't know I can teach history. But the problem is the history I teach and the one written in their books are not the same thing. It's two conflicting history. I tell the real history of black people, Africans, and I try to use that history to persuade black people who feel disconnected with Africa to come visit Africa. So I try to sell the good image of Africa, because it's my country, it's my continent. So if nobody's gonna do that for me. So that's what, on every occasion I get, I use that platform to make sure I voice that message that it's Africa for Africans, for black people, and they need to come. And also, I always tell them that there is a lot of black people migrating from America, for example, to Ghana and start a new life there. And I know a lot of people who have gone through that process. And also, I try to share opportunities, and I also like to voice my opinion about issues that affect the community. So basically, people don't know I do that, because I might say something to you right now about my people, and some people will think I'm 18 on other people. And I try to always find those kind of people who think I'm 18 on others, and try to sit them down and explain to them that it's not a fight against anybody. It's a fight for recognition of some group of people who have been maltreated in some kind of way, who really deserve. They deserve, and they are supposed to be respected. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. Yes, on my Facebook is more interesting. And on my Instagram, yes, I just share some funny quotes and interesting things I find. I just share it. But on my Facebook, that's where I react to everything. That's where I write every little one or two things to share new information to people. Facebook is Nabe Amadu Ali. If you add me on Facebook, I will always add you back. And on my Instagram is official_Nabe, and Nabe Nabe.
Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to share your story or have us visit your region, send us a message on any of our social media platforms or via our website.
That's good.